Sports Talk. Let's go.
Good morning. What up? What up? How you guys doing? It's me, your boy Ryan Flowers, aka Clutch Sports Talk, back in the house, and welcome to another edition of NFL Sunday Wake Up, man. Hey, listen, early morning start today. We got the Chiefs and the Dolphins going on right now, heading into halftime. What an amazing or peculiar, strange ending to the halftime here. But the Chiefs are up 21 nothing right now. I'm just looked over right now. But listen, we got another great show. It's week 9 as the season just continues to progress. We got lots to talk about as usual. We're going to talk about my power rankings for week 9. Also, we're going to follow up with the preview for all the games for this week. And as well, we're going to wrap up the show with my clutch picks of the week. Did a pretty good job last week, I would say. Pat myself on the back there, 3-1 after the last 2 weeks were just atrocious, right? But nonetheless, hey, man, I'm back. It's early. Welcome in. So sit back and relax and enjoy the show. This is Clutch Sports Talk, NFL Sunday Wake Up with me, Ryan Flowers. Let's go. Good morning, one and all. Hope you guys are doing all right, man. Hey, if you haven't already, and I always say this before every show, if you haven't subscribed to my YouTube channel, man, make sure you guys do so now. I'm streaming live on YouTube, Facebook, and also the Grid Network YouTube channel as well. Make sure you head over there. It'll be awesome for you guys. And hit me up on my social media platforms, man. And if you're watching the show live right now, good morning to you. I appreciate you. Drop a comment if you like, if you want to talk about some other things that I may not cover today. But we got a jam-packed action show, man. We're going to just run right through it as usual. But I will say this. There's a couple of things that I do want to talk about real quickly, and I don't have a segment necessarily. I just kind of want to put out a statement there, honestly. Couple of things right now. I'm watching the Chiefs and the Dolphins game. I'll hold off on that. But one thing I do want to say is that I'm not a Raiders fan. Okay, I just want to put that out there. Obviously, you guys can see my attire is Cowboys. But I do live in Las Vegas. I live in Henderson, which is a suburb of Las Vegas, right? Not too far, right, from the Strip. But I'm glad that they got rid of Josh McDaniels. I don't even care less, but Josh McDaniels should never be allowed to coach a football team, ever. Maybe high school, maybe he needs to go back to the youth football, whatever the case may be. But the guy doesn't need to be anywhere around. And so, but I'll talk about the Raiders a little bit later on. But I am happy that Antonio Pierce, although he was a giant, right, in his career, I'm glad that he's going to get an opportunity. We'll see what happens. And this is the second time around for the Raiders to fire a coach mid-season and see what the interim does, right? So Bisaccia did a bad job. I mean, they made the playoffs that year with him, and they pushed the Bengals to the brink, right, in that playoff game that they had with them a couple years ago. But nonetheless, shout out to Antonio Pierce for getting the interim job. Let's see what he does today. We'll talk about that game later on because it's a big one. It's definitely a big one for the Raiders and the Raider Nation. So, all right, man, without further ado, man, let's just get straight into my week 9 power rankings. You hear the music in the back. You know what time it is. Number 1, big matchup for the Eagles today. And we'll talk about that game with the Cowboys. But I got them at number 1. They're finding ways to win even when they're not playing well, right? That's what championship caliber type teams do. Now, in the end, it might come back to bite them in yes, but for now, I got them at number 1 in the power rankings, coming in at a number 2. And they're playing really well right now. The Baltimore Ravens coming in at number 2 right now. What more else can I say about the Ravens right now? Listen, they beat the shit out of the Detroit Lions. Then they go on the road to Arizona, which is always a weird kind of game for teams, right? But they let the Cardinals hang around a little bit too long. However, though, they ended up winning that game and moving on. Lamar Jackson playing pretty well. Him and Zay Flowers establishing that relationship that you need between a quarterback and a wide receiver. Now, the next 3 games, 6 of them, or excuse me, I take that back. Out of the next 9 games, 6 of them are going to be at home for Baltimore. Right, so that's a big thing. However, though, they're going to be playing a lot of their AFC North foes. So, the AFC North is just a bully type of division. Even with the Steelers, the way the Steelers play, like it's just a tough division to map out, especially if you're a team in that division. So, not saying that they got an easy road ahead of them. However, though, they're looking pretty good. They got a big matchup today against Seattle, right? And this is a big game for both teams. So we'll see how that plays out. But I got them at number 2. Jacksonville Jaguars. 5 wins in the month of October, smoking hot after starting 1-2 to start the season. They're now 6-2, looking pretty good right now. nice little victory last week over the Steelers. In some pretty radical conditions, right? I mean, they were missing some starters. They got a bye this weekend. But looking pretty good though, I will say. And maybe with the bye, they can get some guys healthy again a little bit. But Travis Etienne, not saying he's an MVP candidate. I don't think he would be considered one, but he is definitely the lifeblood of this team. As long as they can keep him healthy and keep him going, the Jaguars are going to be looking pretty good, right? As my boy Larry David would say from Curb Your Enthusiasm, pretty good. That's a little Curb Your Enthusiasm reference if you guys know what I'm talking about. Anywho, all right, coming in at number 4 right now, they are beating the crap out of the Miami Dolphins. It's 21-0 at halftime in Frankfurt, Germany. The Chiefs at number 4, right? Defense is playing phenomenal. Offense, they're missing something. And I know they won a Super Bowl last year without Tyreek Hill. And without a really explosive passing game because Patrick Mahomes is pretty just damn good. But teams are starting to figure them out a little bit, and you could tell they're not getting any good separation from the receivers that they do have. They're not running the ball, especially last week. They did not run the ball effectively in that loss to Denver. But I'm not going to count the defending Super Bowl champs out. I moved them down a little bit because there are some deficiencies in their game. And you can't lose to the Denver Broncos. I get it. Patrick Mahomes was sick. Got some kind of flu illness type situation going on. A lot of huge drops in that game last week against Denver. However, though, I got to move them down just a little bit because you can't lose to Broncos country. Come on, can't do that, right? And you have beaten them 16 times in a row. I guess, all streaks must come to an end, but I'm not counting out the Chiefs quite yet. I still think they can beat the other 3 teams ahead of them, right? But when you look at them on paper favorably, these matchups don't look that well for them. Just because they can't score at the rate that they want to, or at least the clip that they want to. So I got the Chiefs at number 4. Okay. All right. Number 5, a lot of people might be scratching their head right now like, oh, why the hell do you got the Bills at 5? Listen, the Bills are the most, them with the Cowboys, but I'll give the Bills a little bit more credit. When they're on, they are on, right? And they got a big game tonight, Sunday night. Listen, I'm not going to be tuned in for that one for sure. For whatever reason, they've been struggling with some of these, booty ass teams, right? Like Buccaneers, right? Who did they struggle with the week before? Like, they're just struggling. Okay. But listen, this team, if they can figure something out, right? Obviously, they're driven by Josh Allen. They go as far as he will go. Okay. But they're in between right there. Okay. I think they can beat and compete with the 4 teams ahead of them. Okay. But it's gonna come down to Josh Allen at the end of the games, right? Can he make big plays and then not make big plays in the way of turnovers? Okay, so I got the Bills at 5, but it's like a shaky 5, I would say, a shaky 5. So we'll see what they do tonight, because tonight is a big game for them to see to put to change the mindset of some doubters. Like, they're here and they're a contending team, because right now everyone thinks, including myself, they've kind of missed their window, right, as far as winning a championship. But we'll see what happens tonight against a hot Bengals team who's kind of figuring things out right now. All right, number 6, Miami Dolphins struggling again against a top tier team or defense in itself, right? Like, you looked at their matchups against Philadelphia. You look up at their matchups against Buffalo Bills, teams that have, for the most part, no, I won't say Eagles don't have a great defense, but they were a primetime type team. I know it's a 9:30 a.m. start game or 6:30 a.m. start here game for them. It's a primetime game because of who you're playing. They're not getting the job done. As simple as that. If you cannot run the football, they cannot get going. And right now, the Chiefs are doing a pretty good job at holding them or limiting the run game. That way, Tyreek Hill can't get off and do his thing. And right now, they're down 21-0. Right now, you would think they can come back, right? But that second quarter is usually their quarter. I believe they're number 1 in total points scored in the second quarter. Didn't happen for them. They're still shut out at halftime, right? So I don't know what to think about this team. Like, they're fun to watch. I think, when you throw them on, you're like, oh, okay, it should be a track meet up and down. But it's kind of like there's no consistency sometimes, especially when they're going to play these top tier teams. And right now, they're not living up to the bill. So I know a couple weeks ago, I had them at number 1. But right now, at this point, what do I want to say? Like, at this point, you are what you are at this point. I mean, really, it's week 9. People know who you are. Not much is going to change from these teams, and I think we kind of know and understand what the Dolphins are. They're fun to watch, but when they got to go on the road or they got to play really good, solid teams, it's just they don't show up at the end of the day. So I got them at number 6. All right, moving right along, we got the 49ers. They have dropped their last 3 games to what? Cleveland, Minnesota, and then last week I lost at home to the Cincinnati Bengals. Brock Purdy is finally coming down. The Cinderella slipper is appeared, right? Midnight has happened. I get it. They got a lot going on right now, injury-wise. They're not, and that does affect them. Don't get me wrong. That I'm not going to say that hasn't affected them. Debo being out is, as much as they haven't really been utilizing him, right? He's still a guy out there that teams have to kind of think about. And when he's out, McCaffrey's not all the way healthy. You got Trent Williams, arguably the best left tackle in the game, out. Of course, your quarterback is going to struggle. Okay, and I'm going to hate on Purdy a little bit just because the way people hate on other quarterbacks per se, like Dak Prescott. And by no means I don't think Dak Prescott is off the hook, right? We still got a lot of season left, but football is one of the most ultimate team sports. When parts of your team are not available or are not efficient enough, it will affect the rest of your team, and you're seeing that right now. Okay, now they go ahead and make a pretty decent trade for Chase Young. I'm not sure that's going to work out for them. On paper, you hear his name, you're like, oh my God, Nick Bosa and Chase Young, bookends. Like, let's just be real. Chase Young was a phenomenal talent. I guess he still is a talent, but his play has been pretty inconsistent, and injuries have kind of hindered his career so far. Maybe with a new slate coming to the Bay Area or to San Francisco might change him a little bit, but we'll see. I feel like the Bears got the better end of the deal with the trade with the Washington Commanders. We're getting Montez Sweat, but Chase Young on paper looks pretty good. But right now the Niners are very vulnerable. They're very vulnerable at this time, and Brock Purdy is not the guy that can play from behind. Okay, he's got to be up. He's got to be in front, which is no slight to him. It just is what it is. But after they beat up on the Cowboys, man, I was even myself like, oh man, this team's unstoppable. And then they go ahead and they lost their last 3. So I got to drop them down to number 7. But it's valid. I mean, you cannot argue that even if you are a fan. Okay. All right. Moving along at we got number 8, the Detroit Lions. Okay. Coming at number 8. Nice little feel good win for them against the Raiders last week or this past Monday. But again, I don't know if they're ready yet. Okay. I know they got the big win against Kansas City on that Thursday night to open up the season. And then they had an opportunity last week to kind of really set the tone a little bit moving forward. And they got their ass whooped by the Baltimore Ravens. I mean, like whooped. From what I understand, Child Protective Services was called to M&T Bank because the Lions, the families and the mothers were calling because their sons were getting their ass whooped. And so I don't know what happened with CPS in Baltimore. I guess everything is okay, right? But I don't know what happened to the Lions. But they come back home on Monday night. Jahmyr Gibbs had an outstanding game the other night, 180 yards, a touchdown on 31 touches. Maybe you might want to give him the ball a little bit more. All right. Heard that. So, but again, listen, feel good story for them. It's nice to see them, kind of back in the swing of things, but I'm not quite sure if they're ready for the prime time yet, but we'll see in the next couple of weeks. All right. All right. Moving along. My Cowboys at number 9. They did what they needed to do last week. They're better than the Rams. You're supposed to beat the Rams. That's what you should do if you're a good team. All right. I still do not believe in this team, and I'll talk about their game later on here in just a second. But I do not believe in this team. I don't know, man. They're like the Buffalo Bills, so inconsistent. One day they look really, really like, oh my God, this might be the year, and then next week it's like, the hell, So very inconsistent from everybody, from the play calling, the defense, Dak, Micah. Like I don't know, man. I really don't know, but they're still good enough. They're 6-2 right now, I believe. Right, is that the record? 6-2, right? With losses to the Cardinals, and the shellacking they took by the Niners. So we'll see. But tonight is a big game, and I'll talk about that here in just a second. And rolling out the finishing up the top 10, and you're probably wondering what happened to the Bengals, right? I'll talk about that in just a second. I like Seattle. They've been on the list for quite some time this week. Big matchup today, with Baltimore, right? And they added Leonard Williams to a defense that's been pretty damn good. They got a steal with Devon Witherspoon, the corner out of Illinois. Jamal Adams is back, maybe for a couple plays here because he's probably going to get hurt again. I don't wish that on him, but that's just been his pattern there, right? But defense is good, solid. Geno Smith, if he can continue to play at a steady level, follow with their run game, this team is going to be hard. It's hard to beat right now, and they're sitting at the top of the NFC West right now. So, and then as far as the Bengals, really good wins. Last week was a really good win. Now they have an opportunity to get into the top 10 this week. If they can go at home and beat the Buffalo Bills, I think I could crack them in there somewhere, because someone's going to fall out, whether it's the Cowboys, which is a possibility, Seattle maybe, the Lions, right? Niners are on a bye week, much needed, right? So I'll leave them where they are, right? And so we'll see, but we'll have to wait. But those are my week 9 top 10 power rankings, man. Let me know what you guys think. We got some comments already here. Anthony Estrada, what's up, my guy? He says, yo, man, how you doing this morning? I'm doing wonderful. It's early over here, but I'm out here doing my thing, man. He follows up and says, yeah, sure, respect greatness with the 49ers. Of course, Brock Purdy, Christian McCaffrey, Debo Samuel, even though he's hurt, of course, all those boys. But 3-game losing streak, and you have them in there. Yeah, I mean, listen, I still think they're one of the top tier teams. I think they're, if you're telling me they're not one of the better teams in the league, and I get it, maybe the argument can be made that the Bengals should be in there, and I can see that for sure. But I still think once they get healthy, they can still be in the power rankings. They're one of the top 10 teams in the National Football League. I don't think there's no debating that. They just had a bad stretch the last couple of weeks. They should have beaten Cleveland if the kicker did what he was supposed to do. Should have beat them. Now the Minnesota game, defense didn't really show up, right? And then the Niners and the Bengals game, okay, right? But I still would have them to in the power rankings here. No worries. He says, honestly, I don't care how many points y'all score. I never, ever respect a team, organization, and a fan base like the Cowboys. Well, damn, man. Well, shoot. Where's the respect, man? Come on, man. We got some championships in our trophy case, right? And listen, the thing with the Niners, too, like, they get on the Cowboys fans, and I'm not throwing hate because, listen, it's just a fact. They get on us because, like, oh, you guys haven't won nothing in a long time. Well, guess what? You guys ain't won nothing either. Y'all asses ain't won a Super Bowl, since 95 season? Against the Chargers? I was in the 4th or 5th grade. Okay, so Cowboy fans, 49er fans, like, listen, we can all agree we're all in the same boat. Our teams ain't done shit. Now, granted, y'all have played in a Super Bowl since the last time, right? We haven't even made a conference championship game since the 96 season. So I'll give you that. But as far as winning a championship, just to keep it a buck, y'all ain't done shit either. So let's get that out there, right? Okay, so both historical, great franchises. Obviously, right now the Cowboys are in this purgatory state. The Niners, again, they've had really good seasons. They've made 2 Super Bowls in the last 10, 15 years, right? They lost to the Ravens, and then they lost to who did they lose to? The Chiefs a couple years ago. So I give you that. I will give you that. But at the end of the day, as far as winning championships are concerned, y'all ain't done shit either. So let's keep that in mind there. All right, before we come with the Cowboy slander. I'm just being honest with you guys. So all right, but those are my power rankings. He says, sorry, born 98, never seen it with my own 2 eyes. Okay. See, Anthony, I've been around, man. I'm 40 years old, bro. I've been around. So you haven't even seen these fools win a Super Bowl in your lifetime. At least I can say I've seen the Cowboys win a Super Bowl. I can at least say that. I've seen the Cowboys win not all of their Super Bowls. I've seen them win 3 Super Bowls in my lifetime. At least I can honestly say that. You haven't even seen that. All right. So, and I appreciate you, Anthony. I love you, honestly, man. I love you when you come in here. So I appreciate you. So look, we're just having some nice back and forth here, which is all good. As long as we keep it cool and clean and collective, we straight. But I appreciate you, Anthony, for coming in the comments today. But yeah, Niner fans, chill out, because y'all ain't done shit either. All right, moving on, man. Let's head over and look at the previews for week 9. Let's preview some of these games, and let's get this thing off of here real quick and cue the music here. All right, so right now we got the Dolphins and the Chiefs right now. Halftime just concluded. They're back. It's still 21-0 right now. Dolphins with the ball. They're doing their thing. But listen, right now the Chiefs. You're not even a 49ers fan. You're a Raiders fan. Oh, damn. Even worse. And I just opened up the show giving you guys some love, man. How are you gonna come in here and talk crap about the Cowboys? And I was giving you some love, bro. Shit. So you definitely weren't even alive when the Raiders won their last Super Bowl. When was that? You weren't even swimming in your daddy's nuts when that happened. So real talk, like, damn. When was the Raiders' last Super Bowl? I don't even know. When I know they went and played one against Tampa and San Diego, That was like 2002. Their last Super Bowl had to have been like, Jesus Christ, like the late 80s, right? Uh, Raider fans, if you're in here, let me know when the last time you guys won a Super Bowl. All right, it's been a minute. It's been a minute, but nonetheless, let's talk about it. So I'm not gonna really preview, obviously, Chiefs and Dolphins game that's going on right now. We kind of I reviewed a little bit about what's happening there. But let's talk about one of the clutch picks games of the week. We got the LA Rams going to Lambeau. I'm not gonna give you the pick exactly, but I'm gonna give you some thoughts on it. LA Rams, listen, they got their ass whooped last week by the Cowboys. I think they'll have a better performance today. Now they got some injuries. Matthew Stafford, I believe it's one of his fingers on his throwing hand. I think. I don't know. But I think they're in a better position than the Packers at this point. The Packers, I think, know now that Jordan Love is just ain't it, man. He just ain't it. I don't know what's going on with that. I really had, and this is the second year in a row the Packers have burnt me. I really thought they would be a little bit more effective. I thought their offensive line is good enough. They can run the football now. Aaron Jones has been out. I thought their receiving core was due um, for a breakout season. I don't know if it's a combination of quarterback play or just, I don't know, they're just not good enough. So, but I'll give you my pick on that one later. Washington Commanders at New England, probably one of the most boring games you're going to want to watch. Now, Sam Howell looked great against the Eagles last week, and maybe Eric Bieniemy might be the new head coach there at some point, or he probably will get a job because, look, he's done wonders with Sam Howell so far, right? I think the rest of the team is just shite, and so they can't really do much. But the Patriots are at home. Their defense is still pretty legit. If I had to pick, honestly, man, in a weird one, I'm more inclined to take the Patriots just because they're at home and their defense might be able to slow them down, the Commanders a little bit more, just because their defense is just shows not superior. But when you go to Foxborough, it's weird things that happen that way, and especially when they're if this game was in Washington, I would pick the Commanders, but I'm going to go with the Patriots on this one. All right, Tampa Bay Buccaneers taking on the Houston Texans, who had a very disappointing loss last week, man. Not saying that the Texans are ready to make the jump, but I really thought they should have beat the Carolina Panthers, right? The Carolina Panthers had not won a game yet, right? If I'm not mistaken, you had them dead to rights. You let them come back and you win. And Tampa Bay rolling in this week. Now, Texans are missing their running back Damian Pierce and Robert Woods. Not sure that's going to be a problem. I'm going to go with the Texans to win this game again. Tampa Bay, even though it started out nicely, I think they're starting to come back down to who they really are at the end of the day. Baker Mayfield is just a backup quarterback. He's not a starting quarterback in this National Football League. So, but I like the Texans to win that game at home. All right, Arizona heading to the land, right, in Cleveland. Look, for whatever it is, man, the Arizona Cardinals, they're trying to win these games. I don't understand why. They're not getting blown out by teams. I'll give them credit. They're fighting. Now, they just traded their starting quarterback away, Josh Dobbs. I'm not sure who's starting tonight, but I know Kyler Murray he's back. I don't think he's back today, but I know he's been working out. He's been cleared. So you'll probably see him shortly here. I don't know what their play is right now. I guess they're maybe tanking the rest of the year. That's why they got rid of Josh Dobbs. Are they in the Caleb Williams sweepstakes here? Right? Who knows? If I was them, might be. Right? I think if I'm not mistaken, I think if they do get the first pick, they would probably take Caleb Williams, and I think they have the second pick, if I'm not mistaken. And they can go ahead and get Marvin Harrison Jr. So you have two franchise type changing players back to back. So maybe that's the play. I don't know what happens, but I'm going to take Cleveland to take this game just because Arizona, I think for real now, the tanking process is in full effect. All right, Chicago on the road taking on the New Orleans Saints. Pretty simple for me. I don't know if Justin Fields is playing, but even if he was, I'm going to take the Saints at home. Derek Carr, pretty good game last week after the blow up that he had on the with the teammates the week before on the Thursday night game. Was it Thursday night game? Yeah. Excuse me, Thursday night game. I like the Saints to win that game. All right, we got a couple comments here. What's up, Tyler? He says, yo, what's up, Tyler? How's it going, man? He says, Kansas City Chiefs are destroyed. Minimal Dolphins now. Okay. Not sure what that means, but all right. He says, what up, bro? Appreciate you. Thanks for stopping by. All right. Let's take a look at the next slate of games here. Baltimore Ravens. Going to the Northwest to take on Seattle. For some reason, I thought this game was flipped. This is going to be a good one, man. I'm going to have this one up along with the Raiders and the Cowboys-Eagles game. I don't know, man. Now that I think about it, I think Baltimore is favorite, if I'm not mistaken. Um, but I'm gonna have to go with Seattle because they're at home, man. I'm telling you, traveling to the Northwest is it's difficult, man. It's really difficult for whatever reason. Even in the modern day of traveling, right? We have chartered planes and first class service and all that. But for whatever reason, man, it does something to people's minds and their bodies. Um, I like Seattle at home. If this game was in M&T Bank, I would be like, oh yeah, no brainer. No brainer. I gotta take Baltimore. But I'm gonna go with the upset, man. I'm gonna take Seattle in a game that's gonna determine if they're really for real, because Baltimore is legit. And even if let's just say Baltimore does lose this game, it ain't a bad loss, man. It's not a bad loss because this is a good caliber type of team, right? Not all losses are bad, right? It just depends. It just depends on who you lose to, right? So um, but in this particular case, I'm gonna go with the Seahawks. All right. Minnesota Vikings taking on the Atlanta Falcons. Kirk Cousins out, done for the year, torn Achilles. He's done. Joshua Dobbs, I'm pretty sure he's not going to be the starter. I know they got some other guys there for Minnesota. I know they drafted the kid out of BYU, Jalen Hall, I believe his name. I forgot his name. I might have just made up that name. I know the quarterback from BYU. There's one other guy there that they got there, but I'm going to take Atlanta at home. You got to take care of this game, Atlanta. If you lose to the backup, you're done. Okay. All right. So Atlanta, pressure's on. I'm gonna take you guys there. We got the Colts and the Panthers. Panthers coming off of their first win last week. Frank Reich taking on his old team, right? So you think he might know a little something about them. I'm gonna take Carolina because they're home, and Frank Reich has a little bit of insider trading information that might be able to help them, especially towards their game plan against his old team. I'm going to take the Carolina Panthers to win that game at home and get their second win. All right. New York Giants taking on the Las Vegas Raiders again. I'm not going to give you my pick for that one already. But we talked about a little bit. The Giants kind of reeling a little bit. Tyrod Taylor, I believe he's hurt too, if I'm not mistaken. Might be questionable. Quote me if I'm wrong. But the Raiders, listen, got rid of the coach, the GM, the OC, clean slate. Devontae Adams says, something needed to be done, and it might have restarted the players itself, right? Because I think honestly they were just tuning out Josh McDaniels, and Mark Davis really screwed the pooch, man. Like he's not a great owner. This is the second time in 3 years they've had to fire a coach middle of the season. That's not good. And then you hire Josh McDaniel, who really, man, like if you think about it, Josh McDaniel should have never been in line to get another head coaching job. Look at the job he did in Denver way back when, right? And then he basically left the Colts at the altar, right? He faxed it and say, I can't take the job. You know what I mean? Like it says a lot about the guy. And he has not had any success outside of Tom Brady, period. But for whatever reason, people think he's just this great mind of offense, but he's not. So I'm not saying Antonio Pierce is the answer. We'll see. We'll see how it goes. But the Raiders, man, like it's very disappointing, and I feel for you guys. You guys are in worse situation than the Cowboys. At least, we have some winning seasons. The Raiders, man, like it's just turmoil after turmoil. I mean, listen, you had the Henry Ruggs situation. Oh, Patrick Mahomes getting loose. Henry Ruggs situation, the Damon Arnett, and then the Nate Hobbs, the DUI. Then you got the coach and the emails and the racism, and it's like, geez, these guys they can't catch a break. Right? And then you go and get Devontae Adams to pair with Derek Carr, his college buddy. And then why? Because Josh McDaniels is feeling himself. He wants to make this is my team. When realistically, it was Derek Carr's team, and they shipped him out of there. They got him out of there because why? Because he was a voice against Josh McDaniels. Because no one in that facility believes in Josh McDaniels. They don't. And the players stopped playing for him. Right? Because they had no ability. They didn't believe in his ability to coach and lead the team. And then you go and get Jimmy G, who I said from the jump, I'm like, honestly, it's like a wash, really. But in hindsight, Jimmy G he's washed. They're better off keeping Derek Carr at the end of the day. So, but I'll give you guys my pick. You kind of know where I'm leaning with this one, just based on what I'm saying. Maybe or maybe not. I don't know. All right. Probably the biggest game of the day that most people are going to be up to watch. is the Dallas Cowboys taking on the Philadelphia Eagles. This is gonna be a good one, man. Well, maybe it's gonna be a good one, Philly. I'll keep it short and sweet, man. Because if you follow me and you watch me, man, I keep it real when it comes to my Cowboys, and I don't think they're gonna be ready, man. As even though it seems like Philadelphia is wounded, Jalen Hurts has got some type of leg injury. They're gonna come to play today. We're not gonna be able to stop the run. We're definitely not gonna be able to stop that brotherly shove, right? And we're on the road. And we know what happened last time in a primetime matchup, what happened on the road. I got the Eagles winning this game. I think it's gonna be about they're gonna win about at least by 7, at least a touchdown. And I'm just keeping it real. I'm not even trying to hate. I mean, because it's my own team, but I don't feel confident in them, and that's what it boils down to. So no confidence in this team right now, even though after coming off a great win where they looked amazing, right, on all phases, defense, offense, and special teams, I don't think they're going to travel well, and I got Philly winning this game. Okay, all right. Monday night, and both of them are clutch picks of the week. Listen, Buffalo Bills, big time empty game for them. Cincinnati Bengals, they're trying to ride that high, man. They won their last 3 in a row, if I'm not mistaken. All right, so they're looking pretty good. And then we're gonna look at the Chargers and the Jets. Excuse me, Chargers. They got their win last week. But let's be real, they're the Chargers. The Jets, yeah, the Jets are holding their own, right? But it's going to start with the defense. If they can slow down the Chargers' assault and give Zach Wilson an opportunity, we'll see what happens. And with that said, I'll just roll right into my clutch peaks of the peaks of the picks of the week. I got the Bengals to win the game tonight. I got the Raiders, man, to pull the home upset. You got a new coach, new interim coach. That stadium is going to be jumping because you have no idea. The people around this town, man, they could not wait to get rid of Josh McDaniels, like literally. So he's out of there. I got the Jets to win, and I got the LA Rams to win on the road in Green Bay. So there you have it. That's what we got. So listen, that's all I got, man. You guys think what is worth our rankings? Preview. You guys, time. I got stuff to do. So hope you guys enjoyed the show. Appreciate you guys in the comments. Do we have any late comments here? No, not really. So we'll get up out of here. But I appreciate you guys watching the show. Make sure you guys tune in next week. I'll be back live at my normal time, which is 8 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. So I got to get ready. Got to go do some workouts real quick with my guys with my high school team. So trying to build that program up. We'll see what happens with that. But anyway, that's all I got, man. I appreciate you guys. Enjoy the rest of your day. It's always a pleasure. And what else can I say? NFL's king. But that's all I got. See you guys later. This is Clutch Sports Talk NFL Sunday Wake Up with me, your boy Ryan Flowers. Never settle till the work is done. Get after it, guys. Peace.